If you're not focused, if you're not clear about what you want from a personal side to your business side, and you overthink everything and you don't feel like you deserve it, and you're not focused on the small wins that add to the bigger wins in your life, then honestly, you just will not have success with this process. I'm gonna go over 6 different things to think about that will help you not be broke in real estate. And so you can get ahead of the curve, because if you don't already know, 99% of the business in the real estate industry is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals. And I've met over 16,000 agents over the past 10 years. So I've seen it, and I'm here to give it to you straight so you can have more success with this process. And number 1, focus on an avatar. See, so many individuals forget that when they get into business in real estate, they say, who are you going to focus on? Well, focus on your sphere of influence, friends, family, colleagues, past people that you used to work with, which is totally fine when you just get started. But what people forget about is if you can focus on an avatar, which is this simple, you literally write down ideally, what would that specific person look like? What would that buyer look like? What would that seller look like? Why would they want to be buying a home from me? Why would they want to be selling a home with me? And you get very clear specifically on the idea of why the person would want to work with you. And then you get really emotionally fired up about it. And then you believe to yourself that you really do deserve it. Then you'll get that much closer to working with your dream client. Because at the end of the day, don't you want to work with a dream client? Don't you want to work with someone that you like, you know, you trust, and someone that potentially you could even like go on vacation with? I mean, I would, because if you're working with clients today that you are not happy to work with and they just drive you up a wall and it's literally putting out fire after fire, then you probably want to listen up here, because you're probably a part of the 99% of agents that are actually truly broke. Number 2, building a brand. So building a brand ties in with the avatar. So building a brand is like daily life. What are you up to? What are you doing? If you don't already know, I built my brand off Instagram and stories. And so I told stories and post stories and showed my cars. I showed my life. I showed my wife. I showed the traveling. I showed everything that I was up to that led up to opportunities to be able to build relationships like what I'm doing right now with you on autopilot by building a brand. Hence, this is building a brand, adding value, entertaining, educating, giving you some things to think about so you can have more success with not being broke as a licensed real estate professional. Number 3, guides. Now, you want to guide people through the process so they feel confident in working with you, because after you identify the avatar and you're starting to build a brand, you want to be able to guide people through the process of what buying a home, selling a home. That's what you need to be doing here. Unless you're going to be helping people like, say, Levi Lassick or some of our clients here, like living in Dallas, Texas, that don't just guide on a buy side, sell side, but also guide on a relocation side. So what is it like to move to Dallas, Texas? And they guide them through that process. And we like to think to ourselves, like, how are you guiding someone with your website, with forms, with intakes, with, like guides, videos from YouTube, guiding people, download buyer's guide. At the end of the day, testimonials to guide them to wanting to work with you. You need to think to yourself, what does it look like? How are you guiding that buyer? How are you guiding that seller? And that could be from a digital perspective, like I just showed you briefly with that website, or it could be from the perspective of just telling them verbally. I love the idea of having like a form that could be filled out, a guide that could be downloaded, a point of interest that you could drive people to, like a website, because that way you can be able to guide them so much more seamlessly. And if you're at dinner or you're traveling or you're not available, and you send that link out to someone that is your ideal avatar, you built the brand, they reached out to you via DM, boom, now they're guided because you sent them that information. Number 4, intake forms. So intake forms can also help you with this process, because as soon as you build the avatar and then you go through the process of identifying your brand and you're building your brand, and then you go through the process and you guide people, then you want them to do things. And if you want them to do something, then you want them to be able to go through it's called a standard operating procedure. Now, what happens is with the SOP is that when someone goes through the process and wants to send you a DM, they want to work with you, right? And then you give them next steps. Have you ever got a DM before of someone that potentially wanted to work with you, whether they want to relocate, they want to buy, they want to sell? Fantastic. So listen up. So someone wants to basically work with you. They go to your DM from Instagram, they send you a direct message, or they send you an email. Doesn't matter. They send you a text message, they make you a phone call. pick it. So now you want to guide them through the process, which we just talked about, right? Well, why not send them an intake form? And this is the craziest part. Say you want to set up a strategy call with us, no obligation for 30 minutes. And we go through your process of who's your avatar. And we talk a lot about what we're talking about in this video. We're going to have you fill out something called the strategy questionnaire. And we ask them, like, how did you get referred to us? They ask them, what's their budget? Are you paying for leads? Yes or no? And this gives us the ability to understand a little bit about who the person is before we meet them. And more importantly, if they can follow a process by filling out an intake form, they're probably going to be easier to work with. Why? Because they can follow a process. Have you ever worked with someone that just could not follow a process and you had to like call and text and email and you're like, dude, these people just will not follow a process. This is too much for me. Well, that's something to take in consideration going through an intake form to help them feel more confident in you and for you to identify, do you want to work with them or do you not want to work with them? Because if they can't fill out the intake form, to be honest with you, as much as you probably want to earn their business, I would probably lean on the side of just not working with them or give them one more opportunity to fill out the form within 24 hours to see if they can follow our process. And if they can't, I would say, bye, Felicia. Just keeping it real. Number 5, education. So after now you build all these things up, what are you doing to educate buyers? What are you doing to educate the sellers of the process of buying and selling a home? I already just talked about this briefly when we go to the process of, say, Levi Lasik and Travis with living in Dallas, Texas on the buy side, sell side, and I showed some of the different examples. Well, let's go a little bit deeper with that. So you can literally use ChatGPT, but at the end of the day, like, I would feel really confident working with you if you specifically lined out what it looked like if I was working with you as I was your buyer, or what would it look like if I was going to sell with you, right? So think about that. Be clear about that. Get very crystal clear so that way you can educate with good information on the buy side and the sell side to be able to show them that you know exactly where this process starts. And I highly recommend using a website for that process, just like what Levi Lasik and Travis has done on the buy side with the intake forms, with the videos that they can watch, with the download of the guides that can be downloaded, with the reviews that can be read, with the homes that they could be searched, and then the automatic next step, set up a meeting. That right there is a prime example of what you can be doing on the buy side. Liftoffagent.com, links down below, strategy call, absolutely free to be able to help with that process, okay? Number 6, lining up the process as far as the expectations. Now, we're going really deep here. So when you're now going to go through the process of being able to line out what we talked about on the buy side, sell side, that's on the front end. The next steps is going to be on the back end, lining out what it looks like when someone's going to work with you on that buy side, as far as like, what does it look like having a calendar for them? So they know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, boom, this is the process on the buy side. They're very clear. They know what they need and we're on the same page. Why? Because when someone's going to buy the biggest purchase of their life, they've never done this before, what's going to help them win with you is confidence. The more confidence they have because you line up the process on the buy side and they know specifically what to expect, or the same thing on the sell side. That's one thing that I wish I had when I was selling a home in California. And so I didn't really have a calendar. I didn't have a process. I didn't know what to be expected. And I called a lot, talk with like my agent, but I wish to call less if I just had something to download and something to look at. And even if it was like a dummy calendar, didn't need to be any specific date. It was just a 30-day calendar. It said, this is what it looks like selling on a 30-day schedule so you can know exactly what to be expected. That would help me out tremendously. So that way I can be able to go through the process and be able to have more success with everything. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus one because you stayed until 10 minutes of watching this video. The bonus one is I would recommend something like what I have and what we're doing right now. I would recommend a YouTube channel, and we'll just go ahead and go to Central Texas and we'll go back over here and we'll show you basically a YouTube channel for Andrea here. And so she has a YouTube channel, and within this YouTube channel, it makes it very simple, very unique, very easy to watch videos and to get more information about price points. What is it to live in certain areas? You can put together playlists, and within those playlists, you can then be able to have these videos live and lie within playlists. The buyer playlist, the seller playlist, then you can go to the relocation playlist, and you could actually just have a playlist that would feed into your website, specifically into that page that you would need to have more success with guiding your buyers, guiding your sellers, and helping them be able to see how they can win with you at the end of the day as you being their licensed real estate professional. You don't want to be like the other 99. You want to be like that top 1%. Because if you don't already know, the top 10% does 90% of business in real estate. Then guess what? You got to take what we talked about in today's video, apply it to practical action, and take action, right? Take action. Believe that you deserve it. Believe that you can achieve it, and you will for sure be able to make it happen. And now what I'm gonna do for you is I'm gonna give you some guides for free. There's a link down below. I would recommend the 10 game-changing tools for your website guide. It's huge. If you want to figure it out on YouTube, download the beginner's guide for YouTube. You can automate your business A through Z with this technology guide. And then we just launched the website experience, the client relocation process, the buyer flow, and also the ultimate client roadmap. Those are all going to be extremely fitting into what we just talked about today to help you have more massive success and be able to mitigate those things. Not being focused after today's video, you should be more focused. Not being clear about what you want, write down specifically what you want, no matter how big or small it is. That can help you be able to win and get more focused and be able to take advantage of these 7 different things we just talked about in today's video. Overthinking and thinking you don't deserve it, you deserve it. At the end of the day, whatever the mind can't conceive, believe, and feel, can achieve. And last but not least, not focus on the small wins so you can be able to have the big wins start to compound. Focus the 7 that we just went over. I guarantee you when you start to win on the small spectrum, then you'll start to be able to win on the bigger levels. And at the end of the day, you're going to have all this come together and you're going to be like, let's go. Like, subscribe, notification bell. We'll see you all on the next one.